Good morning. My name is Irvin Rosenfeld, and welcome to the RedChip's Cannabis Conference. I'm here today to tell you about the history and where we are in the medical cannabis movement and industry in this country. To tell you my background is I am the longest surviving federal medical cannabis patient in the United States. I discovered cannabis, the medical aspect of it, in 1971. I have a severe bone disorder. I have bone tumors throughout my body. And I discovered in 71 that cannabis worked as a muscle relaxant, anti-inflammatory for pain. And sidebar, it's kept my tumors from growing. I've not had a tumor grow since I was 20, and I'm 65. Now, when I discovered medical cannabis, I had also learned about the government had a farm in Mississippi where they supposedly were going to do experimentation and research on cannabis. So I decided to take on the United States federal government. And not many people can say they ever took on the federal government and won. But I started in 1973, taking on the United States federal government with my own scientific study, studying marijuana along with Dilaudid, which is synthetic morphine, as it enhanced the effects of Dilaudid, is what we found, my doctors and I found. So it took me 10 years. But in 1982, November of 1982, I became the second patient in the United States to receive by prescription, not recommendation, but by prescription, medical cannabis. And here is one of the tin cans. I get this tin can from the federal government every month and have for over 36 years. What's in here is 300 medical cannabis cigarettes. It's grown on the campus of the University of Mississippi in Oxford, Mississippi. There they ship the plant to Raleigh, North Carolina, where it's put in cigarette form. It's freeze-dried. They put 300 cigarettes to a tin can, and that's how I receive it at my pharmacy. So the whole point was in 82 is there was one patient named Robert Randall, who was a glaucoma patient, and myself. And we decided we were going to teach the entire world, especially the United States, about the benefits of medical cannabis. We understood the aspects of it, and we wanted everyone else to understand. So all these decades later, where are we today? Today, we have viable businesses that are involved in cannabis and all different aspects of it, from trying to get banking to growing to dispensing to making machines to making oil. So there are all kinds of companies out there trying to make money. And this industry is a big money maker. But what I'm here for, I'm a stockbroker, okay? I work for a company in Boca Raton, but I'm not here as a stockbroker, okay? I'm not going to be talking about individual stocks or anything like that. I'm just going to be giving you an overview on the industry itself. And the way I look at it is all I cared about in 1982 was patients, was teaching patients about the benefits. And so hopefully they could get the benefits that I was privileged to have. So what I want to see happen with all the different companies that are involved, and right now, there are probably over 400 companies, public companies, not only private, but public companies that are out there that are talking about medical cannabis in one way or another. And I think that's fantastic. My gosh, you open the paper today and you see stories about medical cannabis, okay, or adult use cannabis. You hear it on TV every day. Today there was just a story on CBS News about people driving high. And I don't want to see that happen. I don't want somebody to do something wrong that's going to reflect upon me as a federal patient. So what we want to see is for companies to be respective of the patients, to understand that this is patient-driven, the whole industry. This wasn't started to make money. Money's going to be made. Money's been made, and it's going to be made. It's a billion, it's $20, $30 billion industry coming up. So there's a lot of money to be made. But the point is, I want to see us support, and I want RedChip to support the companies that support patients. Because if you really care about the patients, and which this is all about, then believe me, you're going to make money. Now, as you know, I am saying that I'm the federal patient, and I have a prescription. All the other states are going, it's a recommendation. A doctor can only give a recommendation to patients. They cannot prescribe because it's a Schedule I drug. And that's something that I want to see changed. I want to see it descheduled because it doesn't belong in any scheduling that FDA has set up. This is a plant. It's very simple. Okay, I call it a medicine. It's a medical plant as far as I'm concerned. But again, it shouldn't be scheduled, Schedule I, Schedule II, whatever. It should be descheduled. So all this is what needs to be lobbied and educated. Because again, we've come a long way. Since 82, when we started this, nobody knew about medical cannabis. Very few people knew about it in this country. And now we have a viable industry. But the whole thing is really on the backs of patients. And if companies don't understand that, then they're not going to survive. Or let's put it this way, I don't want to see them survive. I don't want to see RedChip or other companies help them out because they don't deserve to be. I want companies that are caring about patients and understand and take the patient's point of view and realize that if it wasn't for patients, they wouldn't have a business. It's that simple. You wouldn't have dispensaries around the country. You wouldn't have businesses if it wasn't for patients. This is all about patients. And what's interesting is when people talk about, the adult use. Okay, I'm going to go into a little bit of a medical aspect here because I am licensed. I am sanctioned by the American Medical Association and the American Nurses Association to teach doctors and nurses about medical cannabis. And one of the things I'm going to go into that a lot of people don't understand is we have in our system, every animal does, called an endocannabinoid system. Now, this may be a term you're not familiar with, and when I speak publicly, which of course I've spoken all over the country and TV, and pull up Google my name, Irvin Rosenfeld, and you're going to pull up thousands of articles on me and documentaries that have won Emmys. But the thing is, we all have an endocannabinoid system in our body, which modulates our system. It makes it homeostasis to where our body takes care of itself. From 1850 to 1937 in the United States, marijuana was legal. Okay, cannabis was legal. Manufacturers such as Merck, Eli Lilly, Squibb, they all manufactured it, mostly in tincture form for medical use. And it was used for many disorders, but prevalently for muscle relaxant, anti-inflammatory, for pain. Well, because we were taking this in, we produce cannabis naturally in our body. The first cannabis that a baby gets is in their mother's milk, okay, because we all produce it. And we don't produce enough. Just like a lot of insulin patients that have to take insulin outside the body because they don't produce enough insulin, it's the same thing with cannabis. We don't produce enough. So therefore, from 1850 to 1937, it was in our medicines, it was in our foods. We were taking it outside the body. The body had homeostasis. We were taking care of ourselves. Once the government took it out of the system in 1937, which was purely racial, it had nothing to do with medical aspect, purely racial and economic. Once they took it out of our system, that's when we started getting all the autoimmune diseases. That's when we started getting lupus, Crohn's, MS, multiple sclerosis. People don't understand that. They don't know about this, okay? We're just learning. And, when I speak publicly, I ask for people to raise their hands. Have they ever heard of endorphins? Well, today everybody raises their hand because they've heard of it. And I say, 30 years ago, no one would have raised their hand because it wasn't being taught in medical schools. So therefore, they didn't know about it. And the same with the endocannabinoid system. They don't know about this. 30 years from now, everybody's going to raise their hand because medical schools will be teaching it. But it's all just in the beginning stages. So what we want to be able to do is educate the public, not only for that this is something very important for patients, but it's also something very important for the economy. This is a viable industry. This is huge. And it done right, everybody prospers. The company, the patients, society, because this is very, very important. And that's what I've been saying. So what I want to see and what I'm trying to do with RedChip here is to let the companies and the brokers and everybody that's looking at different companies understand that, this is a real business now. Okay, it's been that way. And it's gonna evolve. It's gonna become even stronger as more states recognize the aspects of cannabis and that everybody needs it. So whether it's, you think you're using it recreationally or adult use, or whatever the term is, no, everybody needs it. Every animal in this world needs medical cannabis. So that's what we need our opposition to say. Our opposition tries to make it out as something evil, which is what they did. That's why it was banned in 1937. But now people are coming around and learning that, this is a needed medicine. And I discovered that in 1971. And so to me, I was a law-abiding citizen. My doctor could give me morphine, but he couldn't give me marijuana or cannabis. That didn't make sense to me. So that's what we're trying to do here, is we're trying to educate the public to say, something, this is a needed medicine. This isn't the hysteria that people make it out to be. This isn't the evil, weed or whatever you want to call it. No, this is medical cannabis. The federal government does not give me weed. And I really kind of don't like that term because it's a derogatory term, okay? And so is in a way marijuana is. But the point is, I get cannabis sativa from the United States federal government by prescription. So it's a needed medicine. So what these companies out there are trying to do is they're trying to say, let's take this needed medicine and enlarge it. Let's take this and help patients. Let's help people. And by doing that, we're going to make money. It's going to happen. And people are doing this. But don't make money off patients' backs. In most states, where they have dispensaries, it's very difficult for people that are on disability to be able to buy it. I mean, they can hardly afford their apartments and their food. And so it's very difficult for them to go into a dispensary and purchase cannabis. So what we need is the companies to be respectful of the patient and to understand that while they can sell their product or whatever they can do, they also need to realize that they need something for people that can't afford it, that need the medicine. So they need to be responsible. They need to be patient oriented. And that's what I want to see happen. Now, as a stockbroker, again, I call up clients and we talk about different companies. And, and I'm going to support the companies that I believe that are doing the right thing and also are supporting the patients. So those are the companies as a stockbroker that I'm going to contact and my clients and let them know about that. So everyone's different. Every company's different. Every business that they decide that they're doing is different. But bottom line is what they need to understand, and this is, I keep saying this and keep going back to the same subject, is, this is about patients. If you care about patients, then patients and everybody's going to care about your business. Okay, you're going to be a much more successful company if you put patients first. Again, this isn't about money. Now, to that extent, I just want to show everybody my book, because anybody that wants to learn the history of the medical marijuana movement, which I think everybody should understand, this is 2018. How did we get to here? How did we have 30 states pass different laws, whether it's CBD, whether it's THC, whether it's a combination, but how did we get to where we are? Well, I helped pioneer this. So this book called My Medicine, How I Convinced the U.S. Government to Supply My Marijuana and Help Launch a National Movement. And it's important here, it's my story. And what this is important about is it's great for the choir. I mean, it's fantastic for the choir to learn the history of the medical marijuana movement. But it's even more important if you're in the business and you're doing something and your family or friends go, well, why are you talking about marijuana? I mean, that's evil, that's this, that's that. This is even more important for people that are naysays, that are against us. Because when they read the book, they're going to understand that this is real. And that's what this is all about. This is what the industry is all about. It's about patients. It's about real people getting better. I mean, we have prescriptions. We have different, drugs, and they talk about, narcotics and opiates. And, they have a place. Whether it be it opiates, we need responsible physicians who do the right thing and do the right thing by their patients. And the same thing with cannabis. We need physicians out there that learn about this, that start understanding this. Because they're not taught this in medical schools. I mean, they're just barely starting to do all that now. So we need doctors, we need patients to understand that doctors don't know yet. And so we've got to educate them. But the same thing with businesses. We need to educate the businesses. I don't want somebody getting in business saying, oh, God, we can make a lot of money. No, I want people to say, hey, you know something? We've got an idea that we can help people. And, we can make some money off of this. So that's what I want to see RedChip do, to sponsor businesses, to help them grow, to help them reach more people, whatever part of the business they're in, be it growing, be it manufacturing, be it property, whatever, okay? I mean, we have big tourism, especially here in Florida. I mean, it's a big tourist industry. I mean, why do people go to Colorado to smoke or to use cannabis? It's because it's legal there, okay? That's why they go. But I myself, if you're not a skier, why do you go to Colorado? But people come to Florida all the time. I mean, we're a huge, huge tourist industry. So we need our state to represent that and to understand that, we need to do something for tourism, to be responsible. And companies that do that, they're going to prosper. So it's really just an overview of what I wanted you all to know as far as the history of medical cannabis in this country, that it's real. It's not a hoax. Okay, I'm living proof that it's real. And that's what I've been talking about for all these decades. And I'm so thankful now that I'm not unique anymore, that there are people in all these states that are being benefited by cannabis. And that's what makes me feel good. Now, granted, I'm still very proud and very happy to be a federal patient. I mean, I thank the Lord every day that I've got the right medicine. I mean, without it, I probably wouldn't be alive. But I am. And again, I'm a successful stockbroker, in Boca Raton, Florida. And my clients all know I use cannabis. And, it's funny how I tell clients is, clients need to know, because I don't want them seeing me on TV and, and thinking negatively of it, is I always say, hey, have you ever met anybody that's ever taken on the United States federal government and won? Ask yourselves that. Have you ever met anyone that's ever taken on the United States federal government and won? I have. And it was a 10-year struggle, and that's in my book and everything else. But it gives people hope. And that's what this is all about, okay, is when you've got a devastating disease, all you care about is having the best physicians and the best medicine. That's the best you can hope for. And if you still die from the disorder, too bad. I mean, it's just the best you can do. So therefore, I want to make people understand, especially physicians, especially businessmen, understand that this is about patients. This is about helping people. And if companies keep that in the forefront and understand that we're helping people, well, then they're going to make a lot of money, and they're going to be supported by the brokerage industry, such as myself and other brokers. And that's what we're all there for, is to all of us, help patients feel better, and as a stockbroker, make money for our clients. And so if we all do what we should do, then in the long run, everybody's going to be happy. And that's what I want, is for everyone to have the best medicine possible for whatever disorder they have, and understand that even if they consider it recreational, it's not. It's really medical. Okay, all aspects of cannabis is medical. So I'm very proud to be a federal patient, to be a international spokesperson. And I mean, I've spoken in Congress, I've spoken to the UN, I've spoken in most of the state houses around the country, educating people. And believe me, I've had a lot of doors slammed in my face over the years. I mean, we have people like Drug Free America that think that they know better. Okay, that it's an evil weed. I mean, it's evil. It's horrible. I mean, it's terrible because people abuse it. Well, I don't want people to abuse it. I want people to utilize it the way I do, in the right way. So therefore, I want RedChip to prosper. I want their companies they represent to prosper, but not on the backs of patients. I want them to prosper because they're helping patients. So I'm not going to be here for questions and answers, but I'm sure if you contact RedChip, if you have any questions, that you let them know, and I'll be glad to answer it. And if you leave your name and phone number, I'll give you a call. I don't mind that. I'll be glad to help anybody to help themselves. And that also means not only as a patient, but as a business. So keep that in mind, and thank you.